All right, this makes me sad also. Donald Trump yesterday was asked about Amendment 4 in Florida, which is a ballot measure that would not only overturn Florida's abortion restrictions, but would in fact enshrine into law a right to abortion that goes all the way to birth. It would enshrine a right to abortion through every stage of pregnancy. It is a pro-infanticide measure, radically far left, radically pro-abortion. And Trump, as a resident of Florida, was asked about it. And here's what he said.
Florida, the state that you are a resident of, there's an abortion-related amendment on the ballot to overturn the 6-week ban in Florida. How are you going to vote on that?
Well, I think the 6-week is too short. It has to be more time, and so and I've told them that I want more weeks.
So you'll vote in favor of the amendment?
I am going to be voting that we need more than 6 weeks. Look, just so you understand, everybody wanted Roe v. Wade terminated for years, 52 years. I got it done. They wanted it to go back to the states. Exceptions are very important for me, for Ronald Reagan, for others that have navigated this very, very interesting and difficult path.
Okay, it's being reported that in this clip, Trump said that he would vote for the amendment. He would vote for the right to abortion until birth. He didn't say that, technically. He didn't say he'd vote for it. He also didn't say he'd vote against it. He kind of avoided it. And this has led to confusion and lots of anger from pro-life conservatives who are just being kicked in the shins constantly at this point. And Trump needs to speak clearly on this. Okay, you need to be clear on this. It's not a hard question. It's not difficult. His campaign came out after this clip went viral and clarified that Trump has not said how he would vote on the amendment. Okay, fine, he hasn't said yet. But he should say. Like, why hasn't he said? Why not just say, I'll vote against it? Again, this amendment would enshrine into law the constitutional right to kill babies until birth. It is one of the most radically pro-abortion measures we've ever seen in this country, ever. How is it not easy to say, of course I'll vote against that? It is the right to kill fully developed, fully viable infant children seconds before they're born. This is radical leftism in its most extreme, bloodthirsty form, okay? And it's not hard to communicate that. Here's all that Trump has to say. And I can't do a Trump impression, but in my own voice, here's what all Trump has. This is it. This is all he has to say. He can say this. I've said repeatedly that abortion should be left to the states. As a resident of Florida, I will be voting no on this amendment because it guarantees a right to abortion until birth, which is radically out of step with my own values and also radically out of step with the values of the vast majority of Americans. That's it. That's all you got to say. In and out. You're done. Okay? And you must say that. You must say it because it's the right thing. You know, just as human beings, we have to be clear in our opposition to the murder of infants. And as a conservative and a leader and a man who wants to be president again, you have to demonstrate at least the moral clarity and wherewithal to specifically oppose a Soros-funded initiative to kill infants in the state you live in. I mean, again, it's not hard. And it's the right thing, but also politically, it is smart and necessary to oppose Amendment 4. Especially now, after giving this rather weak, convoluted, confusing answer, it is politically essential. Because all that Trump is doing by dancing around it like this is demoralizing his pro-life base. And look, you can scream at pro-lifers all you want and demand that they still go out and vote. You know where I stand on that. I'm voting for Trump no matter what, because the alternative is Kamala Harris. And I've been very clear about that, and we talked about it just a couple days ago. But there are political realities here, and one of them is that if you demoralize your base, that hurts you. You lose votes. So if Trump does not oppose Amendment 4 again, especially now after he gave that answer, if he does not, all he will be accomplishing is the demoralization of his base. That's it. It will not win him a single vote. The only people who would be happy about his refusal to denounce a Soros-funded baby murder amendment, the only people pleased by that are radical leftists who would not vote for him if their lives depended on it. Okay? Because the only people who support this amendment, you have to be a radical far left. How many people are there in the country who both would be willing to vote for Trump and support this amendment? Are there like 5 people in the entire country who would fit into that demographic? The number of people that you, on your side, demoralize and alienate is so much bigger. It's a much larger base of people. The only people he's making happy are the people who would not piss on him if he was on fire, okay? Those are the people who are in favor of this amendment. If you were on fire, they would look at you and laugh, okay? Those people. So again, just politically, why would you even hesitate to be against something that those people are doing? So it's just a horrendously terrible political strategy. It just is, and you're going to lose. You're going to lose the election with a strategy like that. It really would be It's as if Trump entertained the possibility of a constitutional amendment to protect the right to trans our kids, right? It's that level of radically far left. And if he were to come out with that position, all you've done is just you've lost the election. Is all you've done. You're not going to gain a single vote. Again, the only people that care about that, that are big trans rights people, are people that never vote for you anyway. And so all you're doing is just destroying enthusiasm in your own base. And it's a terrible, terrible strategy. And so let's talk a little bit more about what Amendment 4 actually is, because there's a lot of misinformation out there. And the pro-abortion left is lying about it, like they lie about everything. And here's what it says. I'll read it. This is the amendment. No law shall prohibit, penalize, delay, or restrict abortion before viability or when necessary to protect the patient's health as determined by the patient's healthcare provider. Now, because of the way it's worded, the left is claiming that actually it only allows abortion until quote unquote viability. That's what they're saying. And that would be bad enough, by the way. I mean, you couldn't support that. No way. Even if that was all it was doing. Because when is viability? Well, there's no clear answer. That's the first problem. At a minimum, it makes abortion until 20 weeks, 21, 22 weeks into a basic human right now. And that would be more than enough reason to oppose it, especially if you claim to be pro-life and you say it's a states' rights issue. Okay. Now, I don't think it is a states' rights issue. I think that it is a federal issue because this is about human rights. And laws that legalize abortion are depriving human rights from an entire group of people who happen to be our children. And it's a human rights violation, therefore a constitutional issue. That's my position. But as I said, I don't expect Trump to take that position. I know that my position on that particular part of it is unpopular. And if Trump took that position, he'd probably lose. So I'm aware of the politics of that. I don't expect that. But if you go with states' rights, fine. But then you can't turn around and oppose a pro-life state law. You can't, because you're not hiding behind, well, it's not a federal issue. Yeah, it's not. This is not federal. This is the state. We're in the state now. So even if it was just that, it was just up till viability, well, you couldn't support it. But it's way worse than that. It's way worse. Because note the text again. It says you can't restrict abortion before viability or when necessary to protect the patient's health as determined by a healthcare provider. Or. Note the or. Notice the or. It is there for a reason. Or to protect the patient's health as determined by a healthcare provider. What does that mean? Well, it means that you can have an abortion until birth for any reason. That's what it means. Okay? Protecting the patient's health means anything. Whatever reason you have for wanting an abortion, that counts as protecting your health. There's a reason why they put health and not life. Have you noticed that? You notice how usually they say, well, the exception is abortion to protect the life of the mother. Now, even that, You never need to get an abortion to protect the life of the mother, especially if it's a late-term abortion. There's no reason, even if you have to terminate the pregnancy to save the mother's life, which sometimes you do, you can terminate the pregnancy by delivering the child, which you have to deliver the child no matter what, one way or another. The question is whether you kill the child first before delivering him. And there's no reason why you would ever need to do that to protect the mother's life. But that's not even what it says. It doesn't say to protect the mother's life. It says health. What does health mean? Health means anything. Physical health, mental health, emotional health, financial health. Any kind of health. Okay? All you need to do is find some healthcare provider. Notice, not doctor. They're not even saying you need a doctor. They could have put doctor in there. They didn't say doctor. They said healthcare provider, which is not the same thing as doctor. You can get your damn podiatrist to sign off on it. I mean, really, that's the way it's written. Any healthcare provider. You just need some healthcare provider to give you a rubber stamp and say, yeah, this is for your health. Which, of course, is what will happen. And because health means anything. So you don't need to be Sherlock Holmes to put the pieces together. This is very clear. It's very obvious. The amendment is written that way with these loopholes so that any woman can get an abortion at any time for any reason. And if this thing passes, then Florida will become a mecca for abortion. It'll become, you'll have abortion tourism. Abortion rates will skyrocket by like 1,000% in the state, with people coming in from out of state to get late-term abortions, to kill babies at 35 weeks. That's what's going to happen. That's why they want this amendment. And it is, I can only reiterate for the umpteenth time, it is so easy to say, I'm against that. That's bad. Anyone who's remotely winnable for a Republican would agree with you on that. If they would not agree that killing babies at 35 weeks is wrong and you shouldn't do it, if they don't agree with you on that, you can't win them anyway. Those are the people that are totally unwinnable no matter what you do. You could fall at their feet and beg them to vote. You can say, I'll give you everything you want if you vote for me. They will spit on you and still vote for Kamala Harris. Those are not winnable voters. So, look, I don't want anyone who actually wants Trump to win. You don't have to give me a speech about how it's important that Trump wins. You don't have to give me that. I give that speech all the time. But if you actually think that, well, this is political suicide, and you need to be speaking out about it. And if you're not, then you apparently don't care if he wins.